difference is payroll, so Josefina, has access to send and run interfaces. She can run interfaces to create the file, whereas HR does not have that access. Okay, so there's a difference there. And then, of course, the finance people, Martha and Mario, they have access to sign off data, but the payroll and HR do not have that access. So there's some slight differences, but those are the main differences. So let me find where we have data access profiles. And once again, since I'm in Spanish now, I'm going to have to take a minute. Here we go over here. Okay. So in this area, this is assigning the access profiles. And we'll look at this first one for pay codes. Now, again, all of these pay groups here, you don't have to worry about. These are the USA pay groups. But your pay groups will have two. Pay codes that the supervisors have access to are a small list of pay codes. These are the things that they can go into an employee's time card and add time for a certain number of hours or days, depending on whether it's a vacation or just a falta, an absence. So these are the pay codes that we are saying that they have access to. If on down the line, maybe a year or so, you have to create a new pay code. Once you configure it in the system, then you have to come here to assign it to this group of users. Once you assign it, then everyone who has this access profile for pay codes will have access to administer these pay codes.
Something like COVID.
Something like COVID, yes. All right, does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Okay. So then we'll look at the next one up. So the next one is going to be work rules. Once again, it's pretty simple for you all. Just go straight to the one for Mexico. You'll notice that each plant or each group will only have one. That's because work rules, you guys need access to all the ones that are designed for your facilities. So obviously we have all of the Mexico B is you all. And they're all listed here, all of the work rules. Work rules are the part of the configuration in a pay rule that says how much overtime a person is getting, how much, what they're getting for holiday, all of these things. Remember last week we talked about the pay rule building blocks, and we went kind of down from the top bottom and then the bottom all the way up. The work rule is a part of that configuration. Sometimes you can do a work rule transfer, right? And you need access to these work rules in order to be able to do that. So again, if you have to create a new work rule, you have to then assign it to the profile and then push it over to the selected side.
Okay.
Okay. So now we're going to go up. And we're going to look at the reports. These reports are all of the delivered reports. And I believe that this profile is used for all of the Kronos users all together because they're all standard and they're all delivered. All right. So all of these reports you have access to. If there is a report that they want or they need, then all you have to do is come on this side, select it, and then move it over. And then just save it. But for the most part, we don't identify some things that supervisors can run and HR can run. If the report is just a report, it doesn't do anything behind the scenes. So, I mean, data is what it is, and all of the users have access to whatever they have access to. If they are not allowed to see base wage or rate, then that data won't output on a report. So it's pretty simplified when it comes to reports. All right, we're going to go and move up, and we're going to talk about shift templates. All right, these are the profiles that are assigned to a user that says which shift templates that a user can select from. Now, as a super user, we all have access to all of these shift templates that were created. You remember we talked about it's a start and a stop time of one day. They start at 3 a.m., they stop at 3 p.m. This is one shift, okay? So there are so many that are behind the scenes, right? But our group of users for Mexico only need to see the ones that are assigned for them to use. So they have a smaller list to select from. This way, they don't have to spend time, pulling, looking, and scanning through all of these. They just have a small list that they can pull from. Once again, if you have to create a new shift, maybe instead of 7A to 4:30, it becomes 7A to 5:30 p.m. Well, we don't have that. So when you come and create it, then you would come here to the profile access area, find it in your list, and then just move it over. That would be what they can see in their access for people who are assigned this profile.
Okay.
Okay. Want to make sure your team is picking that up. You guys okay?
Okay.
Okay. Just want to make sure you guys are following through. If I'm talking too fast, let me know, because I could really get going over here on this end, because I took some Excedrin, so I'm speedy here. All right. And then again, we move up to the patterns. Here's our list of pattern assignments, and we're going to look at the one for Mexico. Once again, your pattern is a selection of shifts together to form that pattern. These are the ones that your users in the Mexico plants have access to select from. These are all the ones that are still behind the scenes that have been created. Let's say that HR comes to you and they say, okay, we now have a group E, and that group is going to be 7P to 7A, and they're only going to work on Mondays and Fridays. From there, you would have created a new pattern, and then you would have to have come to this pattern template, find it in the list, and then just move it over so that they can select it. When you see it in the configuration area, that's you seeing it. The users don't have access to the configuration area. They have access to the hyperfines to create and the shifts in the patterns, but they don't have access to move it over here. That would be you all. And why don't I, oh, ran out of space there. Okay. All right, schedule groups. This one's, it's very seldom that this is going to change. Once again, you guys have the same schedules that you've started with. These are the 4 that were added after, I think it was in 2017, the groups. But first shift, second shift, confidentials, medicals, and the mix. That pretty much is just a name, a way to group the employees in a schedule group. But yet and still, if you create a new schedule group, then you have to assign it to the user profile so that they have access and they can see the ones that they need to see. All right, so we're going to look at generic data access profiles. Okay, so these are how you can control many other different access points. I tried to keep it pretty simple for the tower aspect. In where I'm just really using it to control the interfaces and what they can see. So when Josefina goes to run her interfaces, she only sees these 5 interfaces here. If you look for us, you see a longer list, right? There's a longer list of interfaces that we can select. That's because we have access to all of these, but Josefina would only be able to see these. If by chance there needs to be another interface created, then you would have to, whoever's going to develop it for you would populate it and then put it out into the database, and you would have to come find it here and then move it over to the selected area for her to see it and be able to run it. Okay. All right, so let's just go look at a user so you can tie all of this information together. Let's look at Hasiel. Hasiel. Oh, we'll use Adriana. Whoops. All right, where'd she go? Adriana, there she is. Okay, so we're gonna go look at her access. And to do that, we're going to use our go to, and we're gonna go into the people editor. All right, and then we're gonna go to the access area. Here is where her function access profile is listed. She has HR function access profile. That's what that FAP means. The view. Now remember, the function access profile tells you what functions you can do in the system. Can you add a pay code? Can you add a punch? Can you delete? Can you edit? Can you do, can you add vacation? Can you remove vacation? All of these things. Can you add, edit, or delete in the database? That's what your function access profile tells you what you can do. The next one, the display profile, that tells you what you can see. This goes to the hyperfines. So the display profile talks about this. What hyperfines do I have access to? Right? What list of hyperfines? What can I see over here to do? Can I go to the attendance editor? Can I go to time cards and all of these things? That is your display profile. This will always be Mexican Spanish for you because we want you to go in your native language. We don't want you to go in English. Okay, so I'm gonna just pull this up over here. Cruz, Adriana, people editor. Access. Okay, so that one is, okay, so this is your notifications. I always have all of the users' email and inbox. That's if you decide to start using email or sending information to the K-mail, then you could just use that. So I just automatically have that set up for all the users, and then we don't necessarily use these two values. Here, all users will get the data access profile of Tower Mexico, and then HR will get this one right here. HR and payroll will get that. Okay, so here, once it comes up, boy, that's taking a long time. There we go. Okay, so here, remember last week we were talking about how we use the labor levels to drive what plants we can see, what groups of employees we can see by their pay group. So in this case, Adriana can see all employees plus confidential.
Of Mexico. Yeah.
Right, right. So if we drop down on the list, if we wanted her to see only the people at plant 1, then that's the value we select here. Only people in plant 2, and so on and so forth. If she cannot see confidentials, but she needs to see all of the other employees for the Mexico facilities, then it's this one. Here it is, all plant employees. The one that allows to see the leaders is the one that says plus confidentials. And there's not too many people that have this one right here. That's a select few. Okay, the next value is our labor level transfer set. This is the one where if you decide to do labor level transfers, you'll be able to transfer within values. So that one's pretty simple. It has all of your labor levels in it. The approval set, that right there is not used for you all, so you don't need to worry about it. This is very important. So the edits, what pay code list can this user use to edit in the time cards? In this case, she's HR, so she's going to have the HR one. Right, there is one for supervisors. Remember, we just looked at, there are two different lists, how the supervisors list was smaller.
Small, yeah.
Right, and then the HR actually has a much bigger list. So if we go over here to, let me just go to the configuration. We were down here. If we look at this one, HR, see how that list is much more longer? All of the dollar pay codes, all of these pay codes. This is the HR payroll pay code list. So all of the HR and payroll would have this list. See how it's a lot longer, it's got more pay codes to use from. And if we look at the supervisor one, it's a much smaller list. What they can see in the system to use is different. So for her, we need to make sure she has the HR and be able to view the HR pay codes. If it's a supervisor, then you would select this one. You would obviously select the one that says supervisor right there. Okay, and again, for the reports, we just give them the standard plant payroll and HR. This gives them access to all of the things that they need. If they're looking for something else, you guys have the access to look at all of the other reports that they may not be able to see. You can kind of run one or two and then just give it to them and say, is this kind of what you're looking for? It may be a new report, one of these reports that they don't have access to, or it might be a new Genie that you will have to develop. But again, I haven't had to create anything new for you guys in a long time. You guys are pretty good with what you have in front of you as far as your access. Okay, so the next one is going to talk about the manager role as far as their schedule. This is very simple. They have access to all the schedule groups, all of the shifts, and all of the patterns. So there's no need to identify patterns for supervisors, patterns for HR, shifts for supervisors, shifts for HR, or schedule groups. It doesn't matter. Everyone has access to all of the same things. So this one's pretty simple. Okay, and that's for all the plants. There's just the one. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna, yep, I'm gonna stop there and Alberto, ask you, do you have any questions?
Yeah, this profile, who has that profile assigned here in Mexico?
These?
Yeah, that one.
Everybody.
All of your users, all of the users will always have all three of these.
No, I mean this profile, the managers schedule planning. This one that you're seeing. Everybody has access to this one?
Which one are you talking about, like this?
No, shift. No. The shift, that one.
This.
Everybody has this profile assigned?
Yes. For your plan, all of your users, your supervisors, your HR, your payroll, your finance, you guys, they all have access to these right here. They're all the same.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just in Spanish, it sounds like it's somebody that can create shifts and planning.
Oh, no. This is just what they see. So I'll go back to this area over here. So
yeah, it's okay. It's just that the translation in Spanish sounds like it's somebody that is planning the shifts.
Oh, okay. No, This is just what they can see, the patterns that they can see, the shifts that they can see, and the schedules that they can see.
Yeah, okay, it's okay.
Okay. HR does have access to create. So if we go back to our configuration, and let me go over here because I need to find it now. So I'm looking for scheduler setup right here. So they have, let me see, 1, 2, 3, I believe this is the one. Yes, so HR now has access to this area to create a new shift, right? So they have access to create a new shift, and they have access to create a new pattern, which I believe is, whoop, where's my pattern? Oh, it's the second one, sorry, here. They have access to create a new pattern. So if they, once they create a shift and then they want to assign it to specific days, they're going to follow the list here and kind of just call it, they'll go in and say, okay, maybe it's Monday and Wednesday that they work one, that specific shift, and maybe on Friday it's a different shift, and they'll call it a name. But once they create it here, then you all have to come here to push it over.
To the
right?
MB.
Yeah. Am I in the right area? I don't even know. I think I went to the wrong area. Here, sorry. You all would have to come here, find that new shift that they created, push it over to their selected group.
And save.
And save, and then you would find that new pattern that they just created in the list here, push it over to their selected area, and then save. Okay, so there's creating a configuration, and then there's assigning that value to a specific set of users.
Okay.
Okay, so does it make a little bit more sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so
one thing, Josie, most probably Alberto's question was why supervisors might be having access to the shifts. Basically, if they need to assign to an employee a new shift or new shift pattern, they will be able to do it. The person is working in a particular shift.
well,
Is that
for
right?
yes, that is true. As a tool in Kronos. However, for Mexico, it's different, AB. They don't allow the supervisors to change shifts.
Oh,
They don't.
okay.
Yes, they don't allow that. In Mexico, the only people that change or modify the shifts on a one-off, right? Somebody may work extra or come in early, whatever, is HR.
HR, okay. Got
HR,
it.
yeah. When we went live with them back in 2016, they made the decision then that they didn't want the supervisors to do that function.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Makes
for
sense.
Mexico, they don't have that function. So having that access value set for supervisors, it doesn't hurt because they can't do it
They
anyway.
can see. Yeah, they can
Right,
see
but
at least.
right, but if in the future they decide to, put that access out for supervisors to do these things, then it's ready and set for them to go.
Yeah, it was just the word in Spanish, planificador. For us sounds like somebody that is planning something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like is somebody that has to plan the shift. And
Yeah.
it's just a word, but
Yeah.
as I can see that is referring to the module, just
Right.
to see the shifts. But
Correct.
it's just that the word in Spanish sounds like it's somebody that is planning the schedules or the shifts.
Right.
It was
okay.
just that.
So
Lost in
and
translation.
then for AB's purpose, just so you know, one thing extra that the Mexico supervisors do that the US supervisors did not do is Mexico has the overtime approval process where all of the overtime, if it's not within the scheduled period, if it's before or after that scheduled period, all of that time goes into unapproved overtime. And they have to manage that in the time cards and then approve or disapprove some of it, all of it, or none of it. So they do have extra things that they have to do that the U.S. supervisors don't have to do. So yeah, right. So they and that's something that they do have to manage daily. It's not something that HR should be doing because they, you know, the supervisor knows the employees. So anyway, so I just wanted to tell you that.
No, thanks, Josie. Yeah.
All right.
No.
So now we're going to go look at system information. I'm going to close off for this, and I'm going to go over here into the configuration area. And now I'm looking for system configuration area. And I got to find it. System configuration. System
information.
What is it?
You know, for us, it's on right-hand side, but here.
I know it's just a little different. I might have to expand all there. System configuration. Oh, it's here. Yeah, this is it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so here we go. No.
Yeah.
No.
What are you looking for?
System configuration. Oh, I think, is this it? Yeah, this is it. I got it. This is the area where we're going to look at the system information. So if we click on that, I'm going to click over here on my end. Okay, so the background processors are going to tell you if there is issues with employees not being processed. So that's a visual right there. You can come and just kind of take a look. If we click on the database, it's going to give you information about the database if you need to know.
Yeah, if you need to contact Kronos, something is, you know, if they ask any questions, this is where this information is. Yeah.
Yep. If you need license information, it's under the license tab, and it will show you the number of licenses that we have, what's in use, and then what is still available, right? So we have, these are all the licenses that we have on our Kronos database. We have manager license, we have timekeeper license, accrual license, attendance license, and for integration manager, which is our interfaces for payroll and everything. They give you two, they always give you two free.
Yeah.
Because they want you to be able to see what else they can offer so that you can go buy more licenses from them. But yeah, so if you were like in the test database, you could actually assign 2 licenses to somebody and try it out or whatever. But this is how many manager license we have, and this is where we are with all of the other modules. Your attendance, you need that for your perfect attendance process for your bonus, right? Your accruals, you're tracking that for your vacation accruals that you use. So you have that. And then your managers. And I think, Brad, I don't think you're going to be taking all these licenses with when we go to the new environment, right?
That is correct.
No,
we'll only be taking 900.
900, okay. Okay, so that will go down, and then what will happen is they will apply different license files to the database when it gets there, and then you'll see these numbers change here. But you can always come here to see where you are. So let's say there's a big surge of production and you guys start to hire. Well, this number is going to say 900, and this may say, you know, 892. And it'll tell you it only has so many left. And that's when, from an IT standpoint, you got to kind of watch, you got to kind of have your HR and you know, they need to be able to communicate with you. Okay, we're starting to hire more people. We're going to hire 500 more in, you know, we project next year we're going to have 500 more people. That's something that you need to know so that you can work with Kronos to, you know, try to get either a discount or add those license, you know, as soon as they start to do their hiring. It needs to be there because you can't add any more employees when you've maxed out that license number. You will not let you.
That's
Okay.
important point. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to be sure to let Hasiel know that even maybe it's a decrease. Maybe you guys, you know, slow down, or maybe you start to close a plant or two, and you don't need 900 license. That's something that, you know, you want to know as well, because you don't want to be paying for 900 when you only need, I don't know, 500. So that's something to consider, but for sure, he should communicate with you when he thinks there's going to be a surge that's going to take you over the number of license that you have in your database. Okay, so this under configuration, system configuration is where you see that value under licenses.
Okay.
Okay, if you need to see any users that are currently in the system using, every now and then it's good to see that. You can see that on this particular server, remember we have two servers for our database. We have 131 and 132. I believe, what database did it even say which one we were on?
WSD production.
Right. Okay, I think we might be on 131 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we might be on 131. So there are two servers, right? There are two servers, and we have the load balancers. So right now it's probably not getting used as much because, you know, USA is not on the system anymore. It's only Mexico. So if there's not a lot of traffic on 131, everyone will just be piped to 131 server. But if we had all of these users on, depending on where they were logging in, they might get sent to 132, they might get sent to 131. These are the users that are on one specific server. So that's why I gave you the two different server IDs. Sometimes you need to go to each of them separately to see who is on that particular server. And that's only when you're trying to troubleshoot. And I do this with Raj sometimes, where he wants to take down a server. I can come here and I would say, oh, I gotta call Christine and let her know we're going to shut down that server, have her log off. And I see that AB and I are the only other people where IT, we're going to log off anyway because we know we have work to do on this particular server. So this is how you can see what users are logged in at that time under users.
Okay.
Okay. You guys are the only ones that have access to this, the IT group. Okay, so now this is an area where it is very important that you can come and look, but you can't be changing the values. This area is the system configuration area. This is how the entire database and the entire system is configured to do all of the things and connect all of the ways it needs to connect. There are a lot of values for all of these tabs here. The one that is most used, that will give you probably the most grief if you ever have to change it, is the global values one. And I'm going to find it if it's in Spanish. So now I got to try to find it. I'm looking for global values. Global.
It's the last one. At
this
the
one? This one?
No, the left.
Left.
In the left?
This, oh, there it is.
The last one.
Okay, it takes a minute to come up because it has so many values, but we haven't had to change this since we went live. Once, you know, every time you do an upgrade, there's always something here that you have to change, or maybe something worked in test, but it didn't quite work in production, and you're working with Kronos to try to figure out what it went wrong. Oh yeah, you got to go change a setting. But you will most likely never have to do that since you're going to go to a hosted environment. But you will have access to this at least, so you can come and see how things are behind the system. If you have to troubleshoot and work with them, you have access to come and look at all these things. So again, this is.
I think we're not going to have access to this one.
Okay, you think they're gonna keep you from it?
Yeah,
It's
because
possible.
it's a hosted, it's a service, software as a service. So I think that we're gonna be sharing the servers with a lot of users.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
So
agree.
Okay.
yeah, I
What
think
about?
that
I wonder though. I wonder for the emailing. For the emailing and stuff, there are some values in here for email setting for Tower, for AGG. There's some values that they'll have to know if they're going to do this. They have to know so that they can make the changes.
Interfaces also, Josie, most probably.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's in the other area. We'll do that in a minute. But there are some things that you will have to communicate to them and tell them then what values to set. And then, that's one of those things that, we'll be working with them on. And if there's anything that we have to communicate to them about settings, then obviously all of you will be, in on that so that you can understand where they're putting these things.
okay.
Okay, but again, I don't need to go through all of these because they're all pretty much the same. They all have their certain points of connect to the system, if you will. All of these different things mean all different things. So there's a lot, but it's under system configuration.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about workflow notifications. Workflow notifications.
Is up that above that one?
This one?
That one.
Notifications.
Oh, let me look here. So it is.
Is that one?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, notifications.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now in production, we have notifications when the application gets restarted. So this is to, what it does is it emails myself and then Raj. And then we'll change this to, I'll just go ahead and just put Alberto and AB in here. Brad, you want me to put you in here as well?
Sure.
Okay, lottie-dottie, everybody. I don't want you to feel left out. Okay, so basically what this is, it's going to send an email when the application is restarted. It'll tell you which one it is, whether it's going to be 131 or 132, but it'll send an email. Basically, that's all it's saying, right? Is which application restarted. This next one is if there's a database server error. This is rare that something goes wrong with the database, but it's the same thing. It will notify and just say, the production database, the servers are unavailable.
Not available, yeah.
Right. So when we had our test refresh or the patches, when the patches go on every month, they'll take the test database down. I will get that email to say, these databases are offline. And I know what that is because it's Thursday or whatever. And then, of course, when it happens on Sunday for production, I'll get those errors or that email. These three here are for your devices, the clocks. If there's a clock system error, a clock event error, or device itself, you will get one of these three emails. And as a matter of fact, I got one this morning right here. See, device condition error. So on this clock right here, there was a communication delay. Now, it could have been a glitch. It could have been something that it dropped and then got back up. But the fact is, this happened at 10:33 a.m. It's now 11:44. It connected again, and I know that because I didn't get another one right behind it. Right? If I would have got one again at maybe 10:50 or 11 something or whatever, if I would have kept getting them, then I know that there's something seriously wrong with this particular clock. But it'll tell you the clock name specifically and the actual time that it happened. If you get the error and you see it, you go, okay, there's something going on. Now, whoever is over there at Santa Cecilia would probably already know that. that something happened. Maybe there was a quick power outage, or maybe somebody hit the clock, they had to put it back online, or something goofy, right? They would know it. But everyone else can see this and say, okay, something happened. As long as I don't continually get this particular email, then everything is okay, right?
Okay.
Okay. These right here, they're just there because they came delivered. This is for your mobile devices. We don't really use those. The server license, you will get this one. So again, right now we have a certain number of licenses that we use, right? And if you have your 900 and you get to 851, I think you'll start to get these errors. And there's a certain number that it will hit, and it'll start to give you a warning saying, hey, you're getting close. So don't worry about, I got to check this every day just to see. You won't need to do that. You'll start to get a server error or a license email. It'll tell you you're getting close. I get them in tests sometimes when we are testing about and we want to add employees, and we're close to the bubble. I'll start to get these in test from a test server. You can do so many things with the workflow notifications. Can you see this right here? Can you see the new screen that I brought over?
Yeah.
With the cat? With the cat?
Yeah, with the cat.
With the cat. Okay, great. Okay, because now this is test, and I'm actually in English now, but I wanted to show you in test the other notifications. I think I still have them there. Oh no, because in test the data's still there, so it would have been emailing all the users in US, and I didn't want them to see anything that they get them all freaked out on stuff that they weren't even supposed to be worried about. All right, but you can create notifications for your supervisors. If they, I don't know, if they want to, people are taking a vacation. There's many different things you can create notifications for. Right now, for the purposes of Mexico, we're just gonna, we just got these going on right here. But there's manager notifications, user notifications, attendance notifications, okay, all different things that you can use this setup here to create different things, workflows. All right, so that was a workflow currency policy. Let me see if there's anything else in here that I want to talk about. Time zones, you won't have to worry about. Log report, you won't have to worry about. Okay, so we're going to go back into the setup here. And I'm just going to open this because I can't see it very well. All right, so now we're going to go to the event manager, which is in, I'm looking for common setup. Common setup, and it should be comments on the top right here. So event manager should be under worker types right here. Okay, event manager. This is where all of the processes, interfaces, reports, things that need to happen behind the system in order for the system to process things on a day-to-day basis. All of the items that are listed as super users are system processes that have to happen behind the scenes. Okay, these are not your access and my access and AB's access. This is the super user, the system account. This account we don't have access to. This account only Raj has access to. He's the only one that knows that super user password. He's the one that set up and did the system setup when we do our upgrades or things like that. So super user is not to be configured with super access, which is what we have to administer the system. Okay, two separate access points.
Okay,
but everything.
Can you do me a favor and send that explanation in an email to Asael?
Okay.
Because I'm concerned that in some audit, he sees
Yes.
super user and thinks that is one of us and think that we are doing something.
Yeah, that's pretty common. You know, we had the same concern when we would have our audits. When we had Robin here, she didn't understand the difference between super access and super user, so it got her tricked up. Even in the PeopleSoft side, right, AB?
Yeah, correct.
She didn't understand the differences. So yes, I will send the explanation, and I'll copy everyone here on that.
Thank you.
Okay, so super user, anything that's identified with them as being the person setting it up, you can just, you know, leave it as is. But all of these ones that have my name in it, these are the HR imports. You see, it's the HR import that's going on. You know, it goes 6 times a day. I'm doing this HR import during the day. It's the PeopleSoft job that runs. Then I take that file from PeopleSoft and then I import it into Kronos. So I'm doing that 6 different times. And then I also have a sign-off interface. So instead of someone going in there and signing off all the employees, they should be signed up all the time. It's a part of just keeping the database, because we do have all of the US people still in the system and all of the temps still in the system. So I just go ahead and just sign them off every week on, what day is this? I forgot what day I do it on, but let's just look real quick. Where's my sign off?
10 means
weekly.
Friday, Saturdays you're doing, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's on if I open it up. Man, production is slow. What happened? Did we get our resources hacked down, Brad?
I don't think so.
There. Okay. So what is that? That's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Every week on Thursday, I do it at 7:15 p.m. I just sign off everyone in the system, just to make sure everyone's signed off. It's just kind of a way to keep things clean. That's Event Manager. If there's a new interface that needs to be scheduled, if finance team sees a report that they like in the reports area and they want it scheduled to run every day and emailed out to certain people, then that's how it's going to do. So I'll quickly show you.
Create a new event. Yeah.
So let's say for kicks and giggles, I don't know, it's this report. I don't even know what that is, but let's just say that's the report.
All home.
All home. Well, no, they can't do all home. We can't do all home either. So you'd have to select a group of people. Let's say it's this group, who, you know, doesn't matter. This is the hyperfind, that hyperfind, and maybe they want it for
period
right there for every day. And then they're just going to schedule it. So schedule is where? Let me go. Now I got to go over here.
Generate report actualizer.
I really got to learn how to speak Spanish here. Okay, so it should be this one right here. So once, yes, right. So Alberto, so if I want to run this report every day for this particular hyperfind, for this particular time period, in a PDF or an Excel, whichever one, but I'll just select PDF, then I'm going to schedule it. When I click on schedule, do you see it takes me right into the event manager? Here, okay. I'm just going to give some detail. This is the report that, I know, finance wants. I might want to put the hyperfind name here to give it more clarity for whoever wants to look and say, hey, what is this running? Why does this run? Hyperfind, and give the time period that I've selected to use this. And that's what I want to do. Okay, so once I do that, I want to tell it, when am I running this? Am I running this every day, or am I running this every week? So if I say every week, I want to run it every week on Friday I want to start running it this Friday, which is here, right? And I'm going to pick a time. Let's say this one's going to be at 7 p.m. So that's how you schedule a report to run. You select it from the reports area first, then you click on the schedule report, and it takes you into the event manager. Once you have it selected and you hit save, you will see it in that event manager area. And I'll give you an example. Let me see. We can just go into ADP because I know I scheduled a lot of stuff there. It's the same view, so it's not a big deal. But at least you can see some different kind of events. Okay, this is going to be in English. So I need to go to general information. Pop out. Yeah, to get to their area, it's a little bit different. So this is in English, but I'm going to the event manager. That's where this is. And this is ADP, but it's still Kronos. But you can see how you have, this is an absent employees report. Okay. Let's see if we can find some that. Trying to find some that. Kim Hill. Oh yeah, here's some right here. Time detail Chicago report. If we edit this is the time detail report, which is what you guys have access to that. I'm saying that I'm running it Monday for the previous pay period. I'm running it weekly and on Monday at 6:50 a.m. And this report is going directly to Araceli, and she's the HR user there. So it's pretty simple. You, just like we did, we went to the report area and we selected the hyperfind that would give me all of the temps for Chicago. And I selected the time period for previous pay period. Once I clicked on schedule report, it took me here. And instead of, leaving it saying time detail, number, I decided to give it more detail in the name. So I knew who that report is for, and it's for Chicago, and it's their temp payroll report. In the description, I'm giving it even more information. I run this on Mondays for the previous pay period, which is identified here when I'm telling it when to run and what time to run and who I'm sending it to. So these are things that you can do as far as scheduling, and you can schedule reports interfaces as well. Say, 2 years down the line, Kronos develops another interface for you, needs to be run. They might set this up so that it runs all the time at a certain time, or they may say, okay, the interface is out there, go ahead and schedule it. Okay. So I'm just gonna get out of that right there and come back over here. Are there any questions on that?
No.
Okay. So that's reports. Now let's talk about these interfaces. Same kind of thing for giggles. We'll just select, let's just say this is a interface, a new interface. You don't have to worry about what it is. But if we wanted to schedule it, then we would, boy, going pretty slow over here for me.
Define options for.
Well, I'm gonna select one over here. So you select the interface and then you select schedule. If I click on run, it's going to run the interface automatically. It might ask me for dates because there might be date prompts in there. But if I want this particular interface to run daily at a certain time, or every week at a certain time, or every month at a certain time, then again, I'm going to select schedule. Once again, it's going to take me right into the event manager area. Okay, I might want to say here, this is going to run daily at 8 a.m. I don't know, something similar. It is for finance. I don't know, give it some description so that when if you have to question it a year from now, you know what it is and what it's doing. Again, you're going to select when you want it to run. You want it to run once, or you want it to run, every week. I want it to run on Sundays and Saturdays. I want it to start running on this Saturday at a certain time. If I wanted to email to certain people, then I'm going to select email, and I'm going to put an email address in there. And yes, you can send it to any email address that's valid. It doesn't necessarily have to be a Tower email. An example for our USA colleagues, the temp payroll may have to go to the temp agency and the HR. So HR doesn't have to worry about forwarding emails or, be at their desk to forward an email to the temp agency. So we get the proper email address for that temp agency, and we put it here along with the Tower email account. So the HR, and then it'll be, at, tempagency.com or something goofy like that. But we can send it to, as long as it's a valid email, that's where we're going to send it. And it's got to be here, and you separate them with the little colon there, that's how you add them all separate, and it shows you in a little example right there. Okay, so you can schedule reports, you can schedule interfaces, and there are certain jobs. Do you want to? Yes, I want to. But I'm trying to make sure I don't save anything while I'm doing this. That's important. Okay. All right. So yes, you can schedule reports, you can schedule interfaces, and if there are any, again, the jobs that are going to be in here, a lot of them are delivered, they're needed for the system. All right. So you're going to keep those, you're not even going to touch them. When we get to the part where we discuss with Kronos about the devices and how they're going to be used, they may set up the events for the clocks to run, or they may have you set up the events for the clocks to run, but we'll get to that whenever we get to that part of the migration. No need to make it more difficult for you if it's not something that you have to manage, right? So we'll leave that discussion for another day. Another thing that we need to leave for another day is I have to talk. Well, and Brad, you can write this down. So HR has special pays for your employees. We had a lot of them when we first went live. There's a lot of special pays that went on. But every now and then, you guys have bonuses that you want to pay employees. Maybe something goes on at the plant in Mexico facilities where you want to pay them a certain bonus, but it's not something that happens all the time. So we have a lot of pay codes for you all, right? Where are the pay codes again? Let me find them real quick.
Building blocks, configuration.
Yeah, so ours are in payrolls and policies. So I think it might be this one here. Display order, no.
It's a profile.
Pay codes, holidays, work rules, adjustment rules. Oh, here it is right here.
Yeah, it should
Right-
be there.
right here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if I search for the pay codes, and if I just go star,
Definition,
I look for all the
decode,
pay codes that have a $sign. So all of these pay codes have been created. The majority of them are for you all for any special pays, or some of them you use all the time, right? But there are some of them that were created for special payment. So Hasiel says we need a pay code to pay this particular payment, and it needs to be named this. If they didn't care about the name, then I just had them use an existing pay code, because I mean, it's going to be money sent to Morales. It was going to be converted behind the scenes to whatever concept code Morales wanted. So we didn't really have to be too concerned about the naming convention of it. But there are times that HR has asked for a new pay code to be named a specific way. So let's just say it's this one. So I created the pay code and named it specific to whatever HR wants. Then you work with Morales. Morales will say it needs to be this concept number. It's going to be a number, right? Behind the scenes in the interface, the HR, the payroll, they only see this in the time card. They're only going to see that value in the time card. But behind the scenes, the interface will convert the pay code name to a number and format it to how Morales needs to see it. And I'll give you an example. I'll just pull up an old file. There's no names on this file, so we can go ahead and look at it. You won't be able to tell who it is. Inbound, TA data, and we'll just go out. Let's look at some from January. So we'll just take a peek at this file here.
Cecilia.
Oh, they didn't have any. Perfect. Maybe I'll pick a file that has some data on it. How about that? No, that's vacation.
Vacation.
Here's one. Oh, this doesn't look like it has anything in it either.
It's okay, open it. I think sometimes 1 KB, they may have data also, small data.
Here's one. Okay, so here's, see this concept number? In Kronos, the value was probably one of these. It might have been this, it might have been this, or whatever. But behind the scenes, when the interface runs, I'm outputting only the employee ID, the concept code, which is how Morales knows how to pay it, and the amount. Okay, so behind the scenes, during the interfaces, these pay codes get changed. But for the purposes of reporting and the purposes of tracking, the pay code name, whether it be money or a normal hours pay code, it is as it is in the system. And then we have the capability to do that conversion for a payroll system.
And who's entering the amounts in Kronos?
Okay.
Is Josefina?
No, HR is entering the amounts.
Okay.
And sometimes it's a standard amount. Sometimes it's based off of some spreadsheet that Hasiel has. So this is what I'm coming to. There are times that Hasiel or Adriana, it will come from Adriana, but it's Hasiel really giving it. He will say, can you help us upload a file into Kronos for payment? This is because we could tell the users to do it themselves. And this is USA users as well. You know, just go ahead and enter the data. They can go to every time card, pick the pay code, put in the amount, hit next, go to the next person, right? But when there are 900 people that have different amounts, there's room for error, right? So Hasiel would have Adriana work on a file and send it to me and then say, please upload this. And then if I had something that existed, then I don't have to worry about working with Morales. But there are times when it was a new pay code, a new concept needed to be used. So I had to work with Morales to test that, to make sure that everything worked properly. And I had to give that GL number to, on the PeopleSoft side, so it mapped to the GL as well, right? So I don't know how that process is going to happen in the new system. I don't know if they will be able to say, okay, can we just send you the file and you upload it? Because it's very simple. I mean, it takes all of, from the time I get it to test it, it might be a day working with Morales. It's very simple. But for her to give me a file and upload it, it literally is maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes of my time versus, if they're trying to manually enter data, it might take them a day or two. And there's room for error, right? So that's why I always uploaded the files. But if in this new Kronos environment, they say, we have no way, or we're going to charge you every time you do this, then we need to have Hasiel's team prepared to be able to do that data manually in the system.
So you upload the information directly into the database, or there is an option in Kronos?
Yep, it's into the database and it goes directly into the time cards.
Okay.
So it's an interface, and what it does behind the scenes is it says, okay, give me, because I tell her all I need is the employee ID and the date that you want it uploaded, that's going to be in the time card, and the amount. Those are the three things that she has to give me: the employee ID, the date of the record, and the amount. And behind the scenes, per employee ID, it gets uploaded into their time card. But if that process cannot continue in this new environment, or if they want to continue in it, but they want to charge you every time, then that's another story. But regardless, if they can't upload a file, then Hasiel's team needs to be prepared to do that data entry manual, which again, it's not a big deal. It's the same, it's actually the same functionality. It's just that users will be doing it in the time card manually.
So you're doing this through a SQL script, or?
No, it's an interface. So I use the WIM tool, which is the Kronos tool that uploads data into the database. So it's not a SQL. It's SQL behind the scenes. It's SQL behind the scene, but I'm using the Kronos tool to do this.
Basically, Alberto, when you use WIM tool, as Josie was saying, it validates the data also, just not SQL. They have their own APIs. It uses APIs behind the scene, Kronos APIs. So
right, and then
it's a valid data. No.
And in this new system, I don't know if you will have access to a WIM tool, or they will give you access to the database to do this. I mean, we can ask. That's why I wanted Brad to make sure he wrote that down, to ask if in this new environment, will they have a WIM tool to access the database to do things like that.
Okay, so you finally got to the question you want me to ask.
Can you type the name of the tool?
Yeah, it's the workforce integration manager is what it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll ask that question.
Yeah, I know that was a lot of information. Sorry.
No, it's good because now I understand what you're talking about. But.
Right. So I have it's just gonna take a long time to load, but I can show you guys. Oops, if I put in the password right. There, it takes a minute to load, but it's this workforce integration manager tool. It does change when there's an upgrade. This tool gets upgraded to the same platform level. But it is how you develop the interfaces, and it's more powerful than, say, Crystal or Visual Studio. It is a little bit more powerful. It does allow you to use SQL behind the scenes if you want to use SQL. But as AB knows, once you start doing SQL behind the scenes, you have you have room for error. So this, again, like AB said, uses its own API, so it has its own connection to the database for records. and things like that. So it knows how and where it needs to upload information or get information from.
You don't need to know the database structure totally. So
right.
It can take care of that.
So I'm just going to find one where I have already created like something where I'm doing a pay code insert. And I actually think I actually named it pay code insert. Or did I? Probably not. Probably not.
Maybe you have general, not MB.
Yeah.
You might be using it for US.
Yeah,
too.
I'll find one and then we can I'll use that to look at on another day. This way I don't get everyone confused. I'll add that as interface discussion here. Again, I don't want to show too much if you're not going to have the access to use it, because what's the point, right?
It seems that we're going to have access.
Yeah, I want you to know what you need to know in order to support the system successfully.
Yeah, I can see in the quote.
Labor productivity interface, Mexico.
Well, again, I'll let Brad ask that question. It would be really nice if they did have it, if they were able to have it, because that would be really nice for them to have that.
I don't know why they would not. I mean, I think they will. I think they will, but we'll have to double check.
Well, I know in
I'm sorry, in the quote.
It is
Kronos.
Okay.
It is the workforce integration manager.
Yeah.
Version 8. Software as a service.
Okay. Well, that's good, because ADP wouldn't allow it.
That's
okay.
Good.
Yeah, that was a big fat no. So they were not going to have it. They didn't want anyone getting into their database. So that's okay. Well, that's good. So I will put that down as to add to a discussion, and we can take one session and just do all interfaces, just kind of look at interfaces and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I think that's gonna be the most required support from us.
Yeah.
To upload this information massively and things like that.
Yeah, it does happen. It's a lot at the end of the year and at the beginning of the year when they decide to do special payments.
Yeah.
Especially there was a time when they needed people to work a lot more hours. Remember, they were giving special bonuses to the employees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Vacation payouts, something like
and
that.
And if they ask you to do this now, they're gonna ask us to do it.
Right. Yes.
That's for sure.
Okay. Well, that's good. That it's actually, again, if it's a group edit where everybody's going to get 1,000 pesos, that's easy. They can do that. That's a group edit. Select all, add a pay code, whatever the pay code is, 1,000, hit enter, off they go. Everyone will get that 1,000 from a group edit. But if the majority of these files that they have, everyone's getting a different value based on whatever calculation that HR is using for whatever they're paying, it is very there's so much room for error if someone's got to manually type all those digits in, because a lot of times it's a lot of numbers, right? So it's easier for them to have a file, verify it, validate it, and say, okay, yep, I'm ready to go now. This is the data I want loaded. And again, it takes all of 10 minutes to just upload the file. They still validate it, because once I do the upload, I say, okay, it's there, it's in production. Please take your file and validate a few employees to make sure everything's okay. So I do ask them to validate it again, even when it goes in. And once they do that, then it's good to go.
And they can change if they want after loading.
Yes. Yeah. Say, an employee, they decide, you know what, this person needs either more money or less money. They can go directly into the time card and just modify whatever's there at that time. They don't need you to, back it out and reload it. They can just go do their modifications in the time card.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Morales complained about the interfaces, because I think that you made a change to create all the CSV files, even if they don't have any information, sometimes to be ready for the ADP integration or something like that?
Yeah, you know what? I think we can do that. So let me explain this to Brad real quick so that you understand. Brad, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, so you remember for the ADP project, we had to reduce the number of interfaces because of there was an issue. If we went over so many, we had to pay for them, right?
Right.
Well, with that, because of that, and because we thought Mexico was going to go to ADP, I had to take each interface, each link, each interface, and pull it out and make it into one interface. So, for example, let me just go over here real quick. For example, this one right here consists of probably 33 different links that create 33 different interface files. Whereas before, Josefina had probably 17 interfaces to run. She ran for third shift bonus. She ran for overtime. She ran for regular hours. She ran for vacation. So she would run these interfaces one-on-one. But if she knew it wasn't time to pay attendance bonus, she wouldn't run that particular interface. She would skip it. So she knew which ones to run. But because I had to minimize the number of interfaces, I took all those interfaces, the links that were in them, and I put them in process weekly. In the occasionals, these are those special bonuses, things like that would run. They're all in this particular one. There's probably maybe 25 in here, right? Maybe less. But yeah. What happens is it's going to run because it's in this interface and it creates a blank file. It's got to put the header on it, and that's what the sticky part was for the interfaces. These right here where you see a 1111, I have to put a header on it for Morales, and I couldn't get around that. So I told them, can I just not put a header on it? And if you see it's a 0 file, then you know it has nothing. But they actually need a header for their processing. So they can't look at this and say, oh, it doesn't have any data. They actually have to pull it in and open it up to see, oh, does it have anything in it? Oh, okay, no, it doesn't. So now I'll close it. So it's a little more work for them, but it was our way to get around not paying for what ADP was going to try to charge us. But since we're not doing that anymore, and we can talk to Josefina and Hasiel, shall I pull them back out so that they're their own interface?
I guess that's up to the Mexico HR team in terms of how they want to process that. I mean, yeah.
Yep.
I don't see any reason why we can't. We don't have that restriction anymore with ADP, so.
Right. So Alberto, so that's why we did that.
Yeah, I remember that, but I think that HR doesn't know anything about this. It's more
no,
like
they don't.
payroll.
It's, right.
It's
Josefina.
Yeah, sorry,
Josefina's the one. Yeah.
payroll.
And it's a Morales complaint because they said that they need to check all the files now and see if
I know. I didn't like it either, but they need that header, and so Sochi said, they needed the header in there, so there was no way to get around it. So, but
I think if we can go back the previous option,
back to single processing.
Yeah, they're gonna be happy.
Okay.
At least Morales. We just need to explain this to Josefina and let her know that he's gonna go back to the old way.
Okay, I will. I'll work on that email and copy Sochi and her group on it. And then what I'll do is I'll work on all those today. It's very simple. It's not a big deal at all. But we have to make sure that we do it in like not today, right? Because they're going to process payroll tomorrow. And what's today anyway? The 24th. Okay, so we should have it ready for next week.
Okay.
Yeah,
you're gonna make Morales people very happy.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I know it did make a little bit more work for them, but okay, so I wrote that down. Okay. All right, so we're coming up to our end here. Is there any other questions?
I have a question for Alberto.
Okay.
Do you know the timing of when Morales was going to have the new HR module developed? How much time they needed to develop that?
No, they had a lot of questions last week, so let me ask them if they already know the timing.
Okay.
And also they are waiting for the ADP interface information.
Yep, I'm working on that. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask them today. Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious when they'll have that ready because it's going to drive some other things on the project plan.
Okay, I'll ask.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, and then so I guess I'll ask Hasiel what fields in Kronos doesn't he want everyone to see, or?
Yeah, he sent me the file. I can forward.
Okay, perfect.
That information to you.
Okay. All right. So next up is interfaces, discussion of interfaces, right? And then all of these things are going to be based on however we move forward with Morales and Kronos and ADP.
Okay.
All right. All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yep.